Where on earth do you begin to create an entire world? That's a good question, but it's one of countless more that are answered by imagination, skill, collaboration, and talent of the 500 plus creative colleagues that comprise LEGO Design. There's no other place quite like it, and nobody quite like the group we're about to meet. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Live Behind the Bricks, coming at you today from always sunny Billund, Denmark. I'm super excited to see so many of you online today, and I know that some of you will be watching the replay, so a really warm LEGO welcome wherever and whenever you're tuning in. Today we're meeting some of the most creative people on the planet, colleagues from our design team, and I'm going to be asking them loads of questions to find out what it is they do, how they do it, and how they apply play to their work. But not all the questions are from me. You too can ask questions at any time. Please drop them in the Q&A function. That's the little square down in the corner of your screen with the question mark in it, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. If we don't get to it, our producers and the team will try to answer as many questions as we can after the session. So let's get started. Through the magic of modern podcasting technology, my amazing LEGO colleagues will now join me on the screen. Yes, it worked. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
I'd love to just do a round of introductions here, and then at home, you can also introduce yourself, say where you're from. Everybody here, tell us about your job, your job function, and where you're coming from to the LEGO group.
All right, I'm going to go first then.
Start with you, Joe, because you're just right there on my side.
Okay, I'll go first then. Oh, sorry, Joanna. Hi, I'm Joe. I'm from the UK, and I work at the LEGO group, making new LEGO bricks, all the elements, all the different pieces that you play with, and that's my job, and I've been doing it for the last 12 years.
I'm going to go next then.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ioana. I'm originally from Romania. I'm a design manager in the graphic design team at the LEGO Group, and I have been with the company for about 5 years.
Excellent. And next to you is Maureen. Mo?
Yeah, hi, I'm Mo, originally from New York City, from Brooklyn, and I live now in sunny Billund, Denmark, calling to you from my home office. I head up a small team in the LEGO design organization called Guided Creativity, and our job is to, believe it or not, help LEGO builders of all ages get creative with LEGO building. Imagine that.
Fantastic job. Monica, you're up next.
Yes, my name is Monica. I've been at the LEGO Group for 6.5 years. I'm located here in Billund in our innovation house. My job is as a model coach, so our job is to ensure the LEGO quality and get the greatest play experience for kids and adults.
And Fred?
Hey everybody, my name's Fred, I'm French. I've been at the LEGO Group for the last 13 years. I'm a senior design manager and a creative lead for the group, so meaning that I head a team of designers creating the new sets that you'll see in the shop.
Cool, and we skipped Suna earlier.
That's all right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sune. I've been working at the LEGO Group since 2016, and today I work in the interaction design team, so a fairly new team. We try to combine both digital and physical interactions into some really cool products. I work as a people manager and a design lead in some of the projects that we currently have in development. And I sit in Billund.
Fantastic. Really nice to meet you all, and thanks for joining today. I'm super curious to hear a little bit about your journeys, your backgrounds, how you came into the LEGO Group. So maybe if you just, who wants to start with that question? Just Mo, please. You started in New York City.
Yeah, well, also because probably of everyone in the group, I might have the longest timeline. I've had a relationship with the LEGO Group for about 22 years, both as an internal employee, which I am now, but also as an external consultant. And I started my career 22 years ago in a small creative office for the LEGO Group in New York City. Doesn't exist anymore. But looking at innovation and how do we innovate on the internet? And I started with working on the Lego fan club, helping Lego fans and Lego builders of all ages get creative with Lego bricks. And then I've continued that journey for the next 22 years in various roles across the company until I landed in Lego design a few years ago. And I do not have a formal design background. Instead, I've just always had a passion for designing experiences and playful experiences. And then I also have a background in education. So playful learning and creativity are woven into everything I do.
Interesting. So you didn't come from a sort of a traditional route, as some of our people who are watching at home might be thinking. Okay, I need to go to design school, and I need to have a perfect portfolio and everything. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, if you're not coming from a traditional design background, how do you pursue
I'll just add
this?
on that design's always been a passion. And so that's something that has been self-taught and self-learned and leaning into that. And then also with portfolio building, it's all about showcasing your passion and what you love and what it is you do and who you are as a creator.
Right. Did anybody come in from a traditional sort of design background? Yeah, Joe?
I guess me, yeah. So yeah, a few of us. So yeah, my route was a little bit more traditional, but then yeah, I studied industrial design at university at Plymouth in the UK, and then I exhibited some work along with a lot of other graduating students in London many years ago, and I was presenting work to lots of different people in the public and design leaders, but you couldn't tell who was who when you were presenting. And then this chap kind of tapped me on the shoulder and was talking to me for quite a while. I was like, oh, this is really positive. This is great. And he said, hey, you should apply for this job at Lego. And I thought, what, at the Lego group? Is that a real thing? That's a real job. People do design there. That's incredible. And he's talking to me about it. And I applied for this job and as a model designer, actually. So my journey, I started as a model designer in the Lego group. And then, I went over for the interviews. I flew over to Billund in a big workshop, and we had to get on my hands and knees again, which was really nice, and just building with all the bricks, discovering all the new Lego bricks that had been invented since I was a kid. And being for the first half an hour, I was too busy looking at all the pieces, going, oh, this is new, this is cool, this is different. And then I was like, oh no, this is an interview. I need to be doing this. I need to build something cool. So yeah, I came from a more traditional background, but then my job's changed over the years since I've been here. Originally, I was a model designer, but then, like I said, I was always interested in the Lego bricks and the different pieces that we make and the creative side of that. So I started doing a bit of both. I started cutting and gluing elements. I chop up. That sounds really bad, but that's what we do in the design department. We actually kit bash stuff. So I'll take I've got a big saw on my desk, and I'll chop stuff, glue it together, make new elements. And then I was like, oh, actually, I really want to do more of this. And started developing my skills, learning new 3D software that I'd done in university, but not done so much when I was building with Lego bricks. Started dusting off some skills there. And then my journey over the years has gone from being a model designer into element design. And now I lead element designers. So I lead a team, I manage a team for projects. And that role actually didn't exist properly when I joined. And that's a role I kind of helped to create. And now there's a team of over 16 element leads doing the job I do now. And it's really, really cool job to have. So I get to lead and manage design, but actually still do element design as well.
It sounds like you had quite an affinity for Lego bricks before you came in. Was there anybody who wasn't really into Lego bricks or building or that sort of thing before they became a designer? Is that a thing? Maybe I'm an artist or something, Suna?
So obviously when I was a child, I played a lot with Lego bricks, but kind of forgot it in my adult life. I was working for a design agency in my hometown of Aarhus, where I live right now as well, before coming to Lego, and somebody just tapped me on the shoulder saying, hey, do you want to be a consultant for a fun company? And I said, yes, why not try this opportunity? And then I was a consultant for Lego Education for, I think, half a year's time until I got a permanent contract. But I was definitely not an adult fan of Lego before coming into to the company. Of course, today I love it.
Yeah. Monica?
Yeah, I actually also have a fun way to at the Lego Group. I have been in 15 years in the textile industry as a fashion designer and creative buyer, and so I have been working my way up there. But fun is actually when I was already 12 years old, I decided at one point, I wanted to work for the Lego Group. So I have been quite determined in learning stuff around how do you have the product development, etc. So from fashion design of developed textile to get to a Lego Group, it's not that different actually. It's a product, but what I think that is that I love at the Lego Group is that we are adding more to the products. We are adding this experience and the learning through play to the products that we did at the textile, right? But I have a textile career behind me.
And Jona, you came in through our internship program, right?
That is correct. I was studying multimedia design and communication in Copenhagen, which is basically web design. And I remember basically you learn how to code, but you also learn a bit of vector design, so you can create user interface for your website. And I remember during one of my exams, my professor told me that he kind of fell in love with vector design, and that's great, but it's not really what we do here. And I was like, okay, but I'm really enjoying this. But towards the end of my education, I was supposed to find an internship. And then I came across this internship for the Lego Group, which was like, hey, would you like to design the next characters for Lego sets? And I was like, yes, I would. So I had to put together a portfolio because, again, like my education wasn't necessarily in character design. So I had to tailor my portfolio a bit. And I had very little hope when I applied, but that was 5 years ago and I'm still here.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, the program, the internship program?
Yes.
How does that work?
We regularly hire interns for a period of 6 months. I guess it really depends on the internship, but in general, it's about 6 months. That's what I had. So you just join the company with a bunch of other people coming from different industries, different fields. And in my case, we were living together in accommodation provided by the Lego Group. So it really felt like college, and we were just a bunch of kids. Just hanging out together, going to work together, learning to do new things, and just having infinite amount of Lego at our disposal, which was amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. And Fred, you came from a very different route. In fact, maybe the other side of the world, right? Before you came into the Lego Group.
Yeah. So I'm from a naval background, so I'm a fan of the product, and Lego was my hobby for the longest time. But I was a French teacher in Japan before I started at Lego. When I came back from Japan, I decided to go to design studies actually in Paris. And after a year, I got broke because the study was really expensive. Paris is a very expensive city as well, so I had to find a new job. So I found a job as a secretary in Paris, and that was a job. It was boring. It was not creative. So I picked up my Lego, and at night I was building spaceship. And this is the time where I actually found out that there was a huge Lego community online. That was in 2010. And I started to post things on Flickr, which is still my base of operation right now. And through Flickr, I found a job recruitment at Lego. I just sent a few pictures of the spaceship I was doing, and 3 months later, I was in the Lego Group. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so just having a passion for building spaceships then can get you in. All right, interesting. There's a lot of questions coming in the chat. I'm going to try and hit a couple of these right now. So now you've all talked about the different areas of design that you're working in. From your perspectives, I'd love to know, what do you look for in a portfolio? Somebody's coming in, whether it's a design intern or maybe it's somebody with a bit higher, a little bit more experience. What are you looking at in their portfolio? What do you want to see?
I can start with that. It's really your passion and your personality coming through. It really, really helps if you actually share a Lego project. And it doesn't have to be a full Flickr portfolio, but it does help if you like actually thought about an experience and a Lego experience and put some time and passion to that. And I will say that the last job I hired for, there were over 100 applicants, and I really did screen for those applicants that took some effort to put in a Lego project personally.
I think as a recruiter as well, we are looking for people that are team-oriented. This is how the heart of Lego. So yeah, we work as a team. As you can see in this call, there is all different functions, and we all interact together to make the product. So that is a very important thing to be as well, to be able to work as a team, take feedback, and get feedback.
So those kind of interpersonal skills, those soft skills, are also something really important that you're looking for.
And
Yes.
I would just want to add to both of what Fred and Maureen said, that what we're also looking for is people with ability to prototype and mock up designs pretty rapidly, especially within interaction design, where we need to put together a prototype really quickly and test it with the kids. So we're also looking for tangible skills in a number of different types of software, like Figma for UX and UI prototypes. It could be Unreal and Unity engines for gaming. And it could be, tinkering with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis when we want to do mockups with hardware. So that's definitely also something we're looking into, because if you have good ideas, well, you also need to have a vehicle to express that. And rapid prototyping, quick prototyping is definitely our go-to tool.
Yeah, I'm going to
combining physical and digital bricks together in design.
I also think thinking about the consumer experience, so putting the consumer at the core of whatever you're sharing, and whether or not that be a Lego experience that you're sharing in your portfolio or some other experience that you're really talking about the people who will be using your designs.
And another thing I want to also add is, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I would also say for me it's really important to see the process more so than the final product, because we're really interested to see how you think about like what you're putting together. Like, why did you choose that specific subject, or how did you think about like we're designing for kids, so how did you design with that in mind? And I think for me that's even more important than a beautiful Lego set at the end.
It's interesting that you said we're designing for kids, because we're, in my department, we're not just designing for kids, we're also designing for the interaction between parents and children, also the interaction just for parents themselves, and then also grownups as well, and the wide variety of grownups, from grownups that are brand new to the Lego experience to grownups who are AFOLs and super passionate Lego enthusiasts.
There are a lot of constraints when we design Lego models, whether it's for adults or for children. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because there's a question in here that's, what are the 3 main things that you think designers always need to have in mind when designing a model? And I think there are some particular things, especially when we talk about playability, that sort of thing. What if I'm designing at home and I want to design some impressive models that could potentially get me an interview with the Lego group? What kinds of things should I design for?
So I can answer that. So the Lego Group is a design agency, so we design toward a brief. The brief contains a target audience, so let's say kids 6 to 8. It contains also like what you need to do for the model, etc. So it's not like we are just designing whatever we want. It is always to our target, and we have a lot of constraints in the way we do, because we have very standard as well. So for example, if you come in the Lego group as what we would say a traditional educated designer, you have to understand that you will be designing with the constraint of the system. We have a system in place, and it is not bypassable. This is how we do, and that's what we have. So our job as designers is to create new things, limiting the amount of new element or new color change that we do. So that is our job as designers. And of course, as a design agency, we work toward a budget. And this is one of the biggest constraints we have at the budget. Like in short term, like the bigger, the rarest, and the more complex the bricks, the more expensive it is. So yeah, if you come in the Lego group as a fan background, you have to think twice before, because you're not building for yourself anymore. You're building toward a 6 to 8 years old kid. So you have to put that in your mind as well. I see a lot of comments on the internet like saying, oh, your model is so much better than Lego. That is completely true, but put that in the end of the 8 years old and see what happened in an hour. So, we have very strong testing facilities, very strong standards as well at Lego. So yeah, it's not like we are doing whatever we want.
When you're testing these, Fred, are you bringing in kids to actually test the models?
Yes, of course, like the COVID years kind of shut down this process a little bit, but now we are back in full process. So every time we have new ideas or that we hit a milestone in our design process, we will bring kids in, give them the model, ask them a few questions, and let them play with it. We watch, see what's wrong, go back to the chopping board, invite new kids, go do it again. So every step of the design process is validated by kids, or at least to the target audience we are targeting with the brief.
It's the best part. Like, I really love that. Like, we're working on some playable toys recently, the Speed Sphere for Sonic being shot through, and we had so much testing for that, and it was in the hands of so many kids, and it was just so great because you work really hard on making sure the experience is right and the elements work correctly and the build is stable and secure and safe, and the kids are all smiling whilst they're playing with it. So you're like, okay, we're on to a winner. This is great. And kids testing is one of the best things to do, and it also is great. You think you've got a great idea, or I'm going to build it in a certain way, or make this element in a certain way as well, and then the kids will be like, do the complete opposite, and you're like, oh, okay, good. That keeps me fresh. That keeps me interested in the job, right? You think you know something, but they kind of always keep you on your toes. Sorry to jump in, Fred. I just thought I really like that.
I actually have been playing recently with that Sonic launcher. It is a lot of fun to play with. So
yeah, nice, awesome.
Actually, Joe, there was a note in here to ask you about WALL-E, and I was wondering if this is maybe related.
Oh, WALL-E, not quite. Actually, the WALL-E thing that was from my not the internship, my interview process. So as I was talking about, I've been flown to Billund, and we're in the Legoland hotel, kind of being interviewed and playing with bricks, Lego bricks. And then one at a time, we were taking out for individual interviews, which I thought was one-on-one, but it wasn't one-on-one. It was like me as a fresh kind of a design student, feeling really out of my depth. And then suddenly there's this whole panel full of all these design leaders and creative leads in the design organization. But of course, I didn't know who they were. They all kind of sat in this round table. And they're all very friendly looking, of course, but you're still a bit intimidated. And they try and warm you up, like, what's your favorite kids movie? And I said, WALL-E. And then my brain kind of broke and I started doing a WALL-E kind of like impression. And then one of the design leaders started doing like Eva as like an impression back at me. And I was like, I don't know if this interview is going really well or badly or not. But so it was just a very strange interview experience. And I'd been in a few interviews before then, which were really kind of like rigid and strict. And this one, I was like, okay, this is kind of throwing me off. Is this good or bad? I don't know.
Sounds like it worked out. There's a question in here. I think Suna, maybe you could answer. There's a question about Bricklink Studio and whether or not that's considered a professional tool for prototyping.
So I'm unfortunately not able to answer that because our department has absolutely nothing to do with Bricklink Studio. So I'm afraid that that's a different department. Maybe Mo can answer that.
Yeah, so my department is part of a huge department within Lego Design called the Lego Building Experience, and we're actually 20% of the design organization, and have every design discipline within our department. And we use Bricklink Studio is a great tool for rapid prototyping. We actually have our own bespoke tools that I can't mention because we're not allowed to give away any of the top secret stuff. But we have something similar to Bricklink Studio and a little more robust that every person on this call uses day to day. But if you're interviewing and want to create a portfolio and want to build and create a model in Bricklink Studio and even try out your own building instructions in Bricklink Studio, of course, we encourage you to do that. And it's also, why it's there. And then there's the Bricklink Studio Designers Program, and even these brand new sets, 15 new sets that came out on Bricklink. And the instructions were done in collaboration with my department. We're really proud of them. You should have seen the lines at the employee shop yesterday, starting at 3:30 in the morning, purchasing these sets. So there's a lot of excitement here. Also supporting everybody in the community that wants to build and create and express themselves with Lego bricks.
Maybe there's a question you could follow up on in here. It's about ideas. So I think ideas and also BrickLink are some really great ways for people to kind of feel like they're a Lego designer, or to get their to get a sense of what it's like to be a Lego designer. Do any of you have any experience with those platforms and submitting models, or want to comment on?
We are working very close actually with the Lego Ideas platform. It is an amazing platform for all Lego fans to submit amazing models, right? And then of course we are trying to pick up models and make them as similar as the submit has been made. But of course we have this system, and we have some quality requirement that we need to go for. And I'm sure that Joe can remember if I say that we have a football table, and I'm sure some of the listeners also know that one, that start off with an amazing submit with a quite big football table. But we started to look into it, and we had lots of testing, kids testing, adults testing, hand-on, robot, any kind of test you can imagine, right? We could just see that we could not live up to our Lego quality standard if we were making that football table in that size. So to be able to deliver something that was playable and stable, living up to the experience, then it's ended up, I think it was a third size from the submit. Yeah.
So is that part of so you're in model design governance, right? Is that correct? Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, model governance. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is that the role of model governance, that you make sure that it's playable, it meets certain criteria? Can you talk a little bit about that role in Lego design?
It's overall to ensure the Lego quality in all our models. So that means the models need to be stable, they need to be functional, playable, and that the consumer having a great experience when they're building and playing with the model. So we are a big part of the development process, together with all the creative leads and designers, element coaches, lots of stakeholders, and also most team, and to ensure that we live up to our quality. So we are doing lots of testing also in our department, and we also actually play with the models. We are down on the floor, driving the cars to test if they're actually good enough. Can the minifigure be put in, and etc. So we are a governance team that supports the design organization to ensure the quality. Yeah.
There's an interesting innovation question that came in, and I'm not quite sure who to put it to, but I'm gonna pose it. It says, is Lego considering remoldable components for the bricks so kids can be more creative than what is provided? I'm not quite sure what that actually means.
Well, I'm not sure about remoldable, but I'd say the Lego bricks that we provide in the Lego building experiences that we have, I think it's just that they can be built in loads of different ways, right? It's a system in play. So actually what you have now is, I think we've talked to Joanna before about the creativity in Lego bricks, right? We talked about the frog that's used on the bonsai tree, and it's actually just been color changed to pink, and then it looks like really nice blossom, but it started as a frog. So part of Lego creativity is actually taking, that piece you have and then putting it in a different context, or maybe turning it 90 degrees and then it looks like something different, right? That's just one example, but every Lego brick actually has that story. You can use them in, even if it seems like a very specialist piece, it can be used in another way, like we call it NPU. Is that right, Fred? That's a nice part usage. That's the creativity of Lego. And there's so many examples of that with our super talented model designers. I'll be designing Lego bricks and designing new things, or my great colleagues sculpting new wigs, new animals, new creatures, new accessories. And then the model designers will be like, hey, I can use this in a different way, in a different color. And suddenly it's got a whole new context and a whole new life. So I don't know about the question specifically if I actually answered it or not, but that's what Lego is.
It sounds like you
things.
did. But yeah. I wanted to follow up on something. How many elements are in the system?
Oh my God, I feel terrible now. I don't know. There's a lot. There's loads. So like over a few thousand, but we make, so my department, full of like super talented sculptors and designers making all sorts of different types of elements. We make over 350 plus new elements every year that adds to that system in play. So we're constantly
adding, or are we also sometimes taking it away?
There is a process for taking elements that don't kind of live up to our play needs anymore, you know, and that's like quite a rigid process that we have once a year. We'll try and keep things fresh. You know, have we used this element that much? Do we really need it? And there's actually a whole process for that where model designers look at it, element designers, graphic designers will look at the portfolio and see what we need anymore to add, so we can add more things to our Lego portfolio of Lego bricks.
So there's kind of a growth and shrinkage of elements, but what about sets? I mean, is there something with sets? Mo, maybe this is a guided creativity question. Is there a way that we're reusing sets?
That's an awesome question. And that's actually, that's the awesome problem that my team is coming up with. Like these like huge questions, you know, like look behind me. I have this haunted house set that we just built for Halloween. I'm still tinkering with it actually, because I'm also obsessed with Lego Mindstorm. So I'm trying to like make it come alive. But that's what we're doing every day, is we're researching and testing how to help extend the life of your sets. And you know, there are many, many, many ways that you can do this, and it's either facilitation within the Lego box itself. It's encouraging creative ideas via our social media channels. It could be doing experiences in stores to get hands-on with bricks. It's working with our sustainability partners in terms of how we you know, either an exchange or replay program. So we're in an innovation space right now with that, and looking for minds to join us. So if you're thinking in that space, that's definitely where we're at.
Amazing. I want to shift it up just a little bit and talk about world building. So that's world building is a lot of kind of what the design team does, right? You're coming up in some ways with these themes, characters who occupy these worlds, figuring out, okay, how does a temple look in Ninjago or something? Can you talk a little bit about that process, like that, using the imagination and coming up with these new things, these new worlds that didn't exist before? Fiona?
I can touch a bit on that, but I also hope Joe and Fred and everyone else can help me out here. I think one thing to mention is that it's a huge collaboration. We are so many different departments working towards, you know, like one Lego set. So like from like very early stages, we have concept designers helping us out. We have model designers, we have graphic designers, element designers. Everyone is getting together and trying to figure out, okay, what's the idea? What do we need? We look into, you know, as we said, we test everything with children or that relevant consumer. And we're trying to figure out, you know, what are the needs, what are we trying to achieve? And we start from a very small idea, and then together we build on it. And there's a lot of brainstorms, there's a lot of like meetings, a lot of like changing things. There's a lot of like working in parallel a bit, but then coming together and trying to figure out, you know, how do all these things like coexist. And it's really important that we talk to each other a lot, because let's say element designer is working on a new element. They need to make sure they update us on the process. As a graphic designer, we also give input on, you know, the decoration area. If there's any changes, we would appreciate so we can decorate it easier. Or let's say, you know, we were talking about like reusability of elements. Let's say, oh, maybe if you remove this detail, we could use it for like different purposes. So there's always, you know, this back and forth of like collaborating and just building on top of something, you know, building a Lego model and then like smashing it and just building it again, you know, better. I think that's how I would describe the process in what we call the concept phase, where we go just, like blue sky, very creative, and everyone just brings new ideas.
Just what you said, Joanna. I come at it from an element design point of view, but what we do together, we make all sorts of different elements, from gearboxes to Technic Formula One cars to the standard Lego bricks to then also character design. And that's when we get really close together, because if you have a mini doll or a minifigure, they have the same kind of design silhouette. But how do we create that novelty? And you can do that with different graphic design, but then also you can change the silhouette of a character with a different wig or a different shoulder armor or accessory. And we have to do that together, like Joanna was saying. Like, it's a team sport. We're working on ideas, and we'll be like, what if we did this? Oh, what we would do if we did this instead? And we'll do kind of sketches on each other's work or have meetings together. It's so collaborative, and we use, just like Suna was mentioning, rapid prototyping all the time. Some of the prototypes are really bad. I'll be there with a pen, just putting some eyes on a character of a sculpt, because then it comes to life, right? Or a sticker that's been kindly provided by Joanna, of course. Or as soon as you do those details, get it up together, hand paint something or sketch something up digitally, it all comes to life, and we can't do it separately. We have to be together in it. And I enjoy that process. It's cool.
Suna, is there an element of world building in interactive design as well?
I think there is. I think first of all, we need to determine and figure out what the interaction design team actually does inside of Lego. I don't think that a lot of people are aware of what it is that we actually do. When I look at academia and when I look at the wider industry, there's not really a consensus of what interaction design is. But I think the one that is closest to what we do is that we design a dialogue between a user and an object. In our case, it's the Lego sets, it's the Lego bricks. And what we do, how we do that is we take digital materials and we take physical materials, obviously the Lego bricks, and we fuse that into to an awesome play experience. So some of the stuff that we have been engaged in over the years is stuff like the remote control for Lego Technic sets, so the vehicles and some of the industrial machines. It's the robotic sets that Mo and I has been working on as well. So Mindstorms, Boost, Powered Up. That's just some of the products that we have been engaged in as well. And then some of you guys also may know about the Super Mario interactive brick. So that's a part of our world.
Yeah, and Fred, maybe as a creative lead, you can talk a bit about how story kind of informs the decisions that you're making in design.
Of course. At the moment, I am mainly working with external franchise. I am the creative lead of Lego Minecraft and Lego Sonic at the moment. So, of course, the existing story on both theme influence our design a lot. So, for example, in Sonic, so we work in collaboration with Sega to understand what Sonic likes, what is he likes in every day and everything. So we know he loves to eat chili dogs. So, we put all of those kind of little Easter eggs in the thing. And as well, once again, for Sonic, Sonic is all about the speed. So when we started to create the theme, and Joe talked about the speed sphere before, Sonic is all about the speed. So how do you recreate that in a physical play, So this is where people like Joanna as a graphic designer come with lots of ideas, like Joe.
Yeah, I think Fred's computer might have finally quit on him.
He won't.
And then in the end,
All right, I'm gonna pass that question on, actually, because I think maybe there's an element of that, especially when we're thinking about the different types of properties that we work with, storytelling properties that we work with. They're informing design. So how does that work? Do the Lego designers kind of come up with the look and feel of things, or is that just coming from the external partner, or are you collaborating on that process?
I think it depends. If it's an external partner, there's a collaboration that works there, and that kind of depends on the partner. I can't talk so much to that, but one of the things when we create our own themes, like Lego Dreams, I missed the start of that project. They had a really cool exploration phase. I was kind of watching from the outskirts and looking in, and there's a super talented team. There still is a super talented team. Mo's got the instructions there, and the world building there was so integral, right? You're creating these characters in a world, what they're doing. There's the dream world. You've got some conflict with the baddies. You know you've got the brother and sister together, and someone like Matt Bettker, he's one of the concept artists. I believe he did some of the concept art that you can see behind my head, actually. You know, starting with the building worlds like that with that concept art, and then we can all go on that journey. How do we build to that? How do we create elements that can unlock certain play aspects or create new characters? You know, you start with that vision and these visual cues, and then you unleash a design team, and then it happens naturally. I think it's.
And then also just how the story elements can trickle itself in the whole Lego experience. So the whole Lego play experience. So, you know, from the unboxing, like with Dreams, for example, you know, if a kid picks up the Dreams box, they can see all the characters there. They can understand how the model is fitting into the world. If you turn the box around, you're going to see alternative models on the back. You know, that's in collaboration with our package design teams. And then, you know, even within the building experience, you know, especially this is our homegrown IP, you know, infusing the story in with both the physical and digital instructions, and then even infusing the story with how the kids make choices. So, you know, in this story, like they can make choices of how they're designing their models or finishing their models in order to, you know, defeat this bad guy, or design your model this way to defeat that bad guy. So also using story to help inform the building experience as well. And it's a collaboration of a lot of designers coming together to kind of not only define, but then also execute this vision.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe we have about 4 minutes left. I just want to take a couple of moments where something didn't work, where you in design or in model development in some way you hit some part of the flow that didn't work, and what you might have learned from that.
Yeah, I think that can happen in kind of any creative industry, if it's all right to jump in. Yeah, sometimes you get kind of stuck on a problem, right? And when I was a model designer, I had the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm working on this, I can't work out this build flow. Or when I'm doing an element, I can't figure out how to get this connector to work to fit in our system in play. How can I do it? And luckily, we've got great colleagues that we can just spar with and talk to. Like, have you had this problem before? Or what do you think? Can I get your perspective on it as well? Or otherwise, my favorite thing to do is just to go around our massive brick library. So in Innovation House, we have our store with all the Lego bricks. And I'll just walk up and down the corridors, and then I'll just fill my pockets full of different things, like, oh, I could use this from here. Oh, I could use this from here. And, oh, someone's made this new color change that isn't out yet. And now I look at the element and it's a totally different element. And and that brick someone's made. I don't know who made that. Thank you very much. That solves my problem. That happens so many times. And so just getting out and walking around the office and talking to people and looking at stuff helps me at least.
Yeah.
I think it's also... Sorry, Fred. I was going to say, I think it's also okay if, you know, something just doesn't work and you try out an idea. And I think it's important as designers to, you know, like know when to stop or just park it, try something else, come back to it. Maybe you got a new idea, or maybe you just got the insights that it's not, even though it seemed like a great idea in the beginning, maybe it just doesn't work. And then, you know, there's something else you have to try. Like I can speak from like a graphic designer's perspective. We have a lot of, you know, we do a lot of explorations on like different Lego minifigures or Lego mini dolls or decorations for elements. And sometimes we go into like a kids test and they just don't understand the concept, and that's okay. That's what we're trying to, you know, that's why we're doing these tests, because we want to make sure that the consumer will be able to tell the story. And if they're not able to tell the story, then we go back to the drawing board and we try again.
Nice. Fred, you wanted to pick up on that?
No, I was about to say.
Oh, no.
Pause for dramatic effect.
There is also thing, and so, you know, Yeah, so in those instances, it is more about the journey, you know, getting all the idea or all the insight you get from this design, and you know, starting anew with a new play theme and going this way. But those are what are the game of, you know, being a designer as well. So yeah.
Fantastic.
I think
All right,
looking at our failures is the most important thing to help us get better. And it's always the best. And when you're at a kids test and something goes wrong, you're like, okay, we figured that out. So let's make it better
great
next time.
point. Well, I want to wrap up. We have just 1 minute left. Very quickly going around from Joe, Suna, Yona, Mo, Monica, Fred. What's your favorite set?
Okay, my favorite set at the moment is the turtle van for Lego Dreams. Of course, I work on Lego Dreams. Of course, it's my favorite set. But I love that set. Great characters, great model. Oh, you've got it there. Awesome. Nice. That's my favorite one at the moment.
My favorite set was the first snow speeder in the Star Wars series that we made.
Oh, that is a good one. Right near and dear to my heart. Yeah.
My favorite set is one that I'm working on right now, so I can't tell anything about it.
Okay.
So I'm a total gadget nerd, and it's every version of Mindstorms, including Spike Prime and Spike Essential.
Amazing.
Yeah. For me, it's actually Lego Classic sets, because you can unleash your creativity and kids can build whatever they want.
Yeah, great one, Monica. Fred.
Cosmic Fleet Voyager was released in '86. The first Lego model I received ever. It's the best spaceship ever in Lego.
Yeah, that is a good one. Also close to my heart. Thank you all for joining us. And all of those of you who are joining at home, if we didn't get to your questions, sorry for that. We just had a limited time. We'll try to answer as many as we can in the chat or in the Q&A session. Tune in next week when we meet with some colleagues who will tell us why Lego is such a playful place to work. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Live Behind the Bricks. Bye, everybody.